Hi everyone, long time no recipe. I know it's been a while since my last video, but life got pretty hectic. I'm super behind with filming, but I'll try my best to do as many of the 13 summer recipes before the season ends in 3 weeks. For this recipe, I'm doing tropical curry. Following the cookbook, we're going to use pineapple, unrefined coconut oil, yellow onion, kosher salt, red bell pepper, scotch bonnet chile, garlic cloves, fresh ginger, fresh thyme, Jamaican curry powder, vegetable stock, unsweetened coconut milk, Jamaican hot sauce, Yukon gold potatoes, sweet potatoes, long grain white rice, and fresh cilantro. Here I'm going to show you guys how to make rice using a rice cooker the Filipino way. As a Filipino American, I was taught how to cook rice using the finger method. The first thing you need to do is wash your rice. This removes any possible impurities and primarily removes excess starch, which makes the rice less sticky when cooked. I usually stop rinsing when the water is almost clear. The finger method uses your fingers to measure the water to rice ratio. You poke your index finger into the bottom of the rice and use your thumb to mark the amount, using this mark to compare to the water level. You want to do this technique when there's water in the pot. Once the measurement of the rice level and water level is even, that's when the ratio is perfect for you to cook the rice in the rice cooker. The cookbook says just to have steamed white rice, so you can opt to cook it anyway, including using microwavable ready-to-eat rice or cooking it using a pot on the stove. After setting up the rice to cook, I set up my cutting board to prep 1 pineapple into pineapple bowls. The cookbook instructs to lay the pineapple on its side and cut the green top just under the base of the leaves and discard it. Then I cut the pineapple in half crosswise and ensured that each half was able to stand without wobbling. I actually filmed this video back in June and had the entire video edited. I just didn't have the voiceover done, and it's been sitting in my hard drive for so long. Thank you to everyone who supported my first recipe video featuring pink cake. Your comments encouraged me to finally finish this video and continue on with my Stardew Valley cookbook series. I used a small knife to cut around the edges of the pineapple flesh, leaving a 1/2 inch border all around. I then cut the center of the pineapple into fourths, then used a spoon to scoop out the flesh, leaving about an inch layer at the bottom. This tropical curry recipe is from the kitchen of Gus and yields about 4 to 6 servings. What I gave brownie points for is that this recipe is vegan, and the queen of the sauce's tip is to either add white fish or shrimp if you'd like to add a seafood protein in it. My fiance and I actually added shredded rotisserie chicken after filming, and it was mwah, chef's kiss. However, this curry recipe was so good to eat with or without a protein, and I'm still thinking about it after cooking it 3 months ago. I can understand why this is a love tier gift for both Gus and Caroline. Again, sorry for lagging on releasing these videos. My fiance and I have been so busy working for and planning our wedding that's happening next year. We had our engagement party a couple of months ago and recently traveled to ask my best friends to be my bridesmaids, and I'm so excited about that. Thankfully, real-life weddings can take as long as we want to prepare, and not like the 3 days from the proposal to wedding dates in the actual Stardew Valley game. After prepping the pineapple bowls, I finally chopped the scooped pineapple until it resembled canned crushed pineapples and until I had enough to fill 1 cup. I placed the chopped pineapple in a fine mesh strainer and set it over a bowl to drain the pineapple juice to set aside for another use, meaning of course we drank that. Here I prepped the rest of the ingredients, starting with the yellow onion. The cookbook says to coarsely chop the onion, but doesn't say anything about how to prevent you from shedding tears, unfortunately. Let me know in the comments any methods that you use to help you stop crying when cutting onions, because after years of cooking, I'm still suffering. Next, I coarsely chopped the red bell pepper and then set it aside with the chopped onion. For the next pepper, I couldn't find a scotch bonnet chile available in my local grocery stores, so I ended up using a serrano pepper, which was suggested as a substitution by the cookbook, as well as a jalapeno. I have to use gloves when finally chopping my spicy peppers because my fingers are really sensitive and burn if I don't have protection. Does this happen to anyone else? Anyways, after finally chopping the pepper, I minced the garlic cloves. The recipe says to use 5, but does anyone ever not use more garlic than stated? I'd like to give another shout out to Concerned Ape for having these soundtracks easily accessible for anyone to purchase and use for content. My videos wouldn't be the same without them. Next, I peeled and minced my fresh ginger. The recipe says to use 1 piece of ginger measuring an inch, and I wasn't exactly sure how to measure it, so I used this much, which ended up being very flavorful in the curry. I peeled and chopped my Yukon Gold and sweet potatoes into 3/4 inch chunks. As previously stated in my last video, I always wash and dry my produce off camera while prepping to film. Make sure you all are keeping a sanitary kitchen by always washing your hands, rinsing your produce, and wiping down your cooking station. Don't get me started on the wearing gloves debate because washing your hands accordingly and not wearing gloves will always be the more sanitary option for me. Anyways, I ended my prep by chopping up my thyme and cilantro leaves and made sure I had extra cilantro because I love cilantro. I'm sorry if you're part of the population that has that soap tasting gene because you're definitely missing out. Also, I recently had this conversation starter that I asked so many people. The question is, can you smell ants? And yes, you've heard that correctly. Apparently 1 in 5 people can smell ants, like the insect, and its smell is even stronger when you squish them. I'm not part of that population, but let me know in the comments if you can smell ants or taste cilantro as soap. After prepping all the ingredients, I set my stove on medium-high heat and warmed up the coconut oil. When I thought the coconut oil was hot enough, I added the onion. However, the key word was thought because my electric burner actually wasn't strong enough to heat up my pot. You're supposed to have heard sizzling when my onions went into the pot, so I panicked and my fiance suggested to switch to our butane burner, which was so much better, and I cooked the onion with salt until it was softened. Don't worry guys, I have a real stove, I just have these portable ones for the sake of filming these videos. I added the bell pepper, chile pepper, and more seasoning. I made sure to occasionally stir while it cooked until it was crisp tender. Following these ingredients, I added the aromatics. I stirred in the garlic, ginger, and thyme constantly until it was softened. I then added the curry powder along with a 1/4 cup of the vegetable stock, stirring constantly for 2 minutes until combined with the vegetables. I poured in the remaining stock and followed with the coconut milk and hot sauce. I wasn't sure how much hot sauce to use in the curry since I've never had this hot sauce before, so here's me being afraid of adding any amount. I stirred in the potatoes and simmered the curry for about 10 minutes at medium-high heat. I then lowered the heat down to a medium and continued to gently simmer for about an additional 30 to 40 minutes until the potatoes were fork tender. This is where I used my kitchen stove because I didn't want to use up any more of my butane gas. Once the curry was reduced to a thick mixture, I added the pineapple and heated it through for a couple of minutes. I finished it off with extra salt and some of the cilantro. The rice was already done cooking by the time the curry was done since it only takes about an hour in my rice cooker. I put a scoop of rice in the pineapple bowl and topped it with a healthy scoop of curry. I sprinkled some cilantro and served it with a side of hot sauce, which my fiance and I used a lot more of. The brand of hot sauce I got was super delicious and complemented the flavor of the curry very well. And voila, here's my finished version of the official Stardew Valley Cookbook Tropical Curry. If you made it here to the end of this video, thank you from the bottom of my heart. This recipe is actually one of the most favorite things I've ever cooked, and I'd serve it to any of my loved ones. Don't forget to give this video a like and my channel a subscribe if you enjoyed my second recipe. Also, follow me on my other social media accounts, Razmajazz, because I usually post the shorter versions of my videos there first before the full-length ones. Okay, thank you, bye!